Moving on to traditional art, the first piece I have is of Audrey Hepburn. I used pencil to create this piece, and I used a technique that I learned that sections off the proportions in order to get them correct. I enjoyed using the blending stumps to make value specifically in her hair because she has quite dark hair and in the eyes, just to make it all feel more smooth and more realistic. It also helped me with the shadows on the skin and the neck.
What makes you most proud about this piece?
I think it's the most realistic portrait that I've done, and the technique has helped me so much with my future pieces. I feel like since it was the piece that taught me to do that, and it's helped me with so much of my art, I'm very proud of the learning that I did during it. Next we have this abstract piece using a drip technique and acrylic paint. This was a live study with orchids. I really love abstract art because you can assign a meaning to it, but everybody who sees it will have a different interpretation of something so unrealistic in some cases. With this one, I personally wanted the yellow to symbolize the sunshine and the blue to symbolize water, and how a plant needs both of those things to survive, which is a bit of a basic meaning, but I found that it was interesting to have those in the same piece and in an odd way.
What did you find most difficult about making this piece?
I think the pot, oddly enough, and making the drips come down naturally. Like, a lot of these look like they're quite natural, but oftentimes it was more artificial in creating and making the perfect circumstances for it to come down to a certain length. This one I'm particularly proud of because I feel like it uses value quite a bit. This is my first ink piece that I used with an inkwell. I call it Roots, and the idea for it was stemmed off of a prompt that I got in a youth group that was, what would you like to tell the next generation the most? And I decided that I would want to tell the next generation about the issues that we faced as a society and the actions that were taken to prevent them and help fix them. The value very much represents how this person is connected to it. You can see some of them don't have a solid line going all the way down, but they still support it because they know it's right. And then for others, it's very, very dark, showing that it is something that is very much applying to them.
What was the easiest thing about this piece that surprised you?
The roots, especially, because roots are when you see them really, they have a lot of different strokes going off, so it was fun to use just really thin, delicate strokes and kind of off of there. This is one that I think is very whimsical and fun and magical. I used colored pencil for this one, and it was inspired off of Victorian fashion, specifically the very odd and exaggerant pieces. And I basically just went to, what is the weirdest thing I can put into a hairstyle? And it was a boat. And so that is what I did with some very ornate curls and a ship.
What was the funnest part of making this piece?
The color palette. I wanted to work with the sea and those colors, but at first with natural tones for the hair. I didn't quite see it coming out. So finally taking that leap to use a different color and make it a little bit more fun in that way was a good choice to make, and it was fun to plot it out and plan that. The last piece that I have here is a design for a park sign that I did. I wanted to make a very simple logo for something that I think they don't really illustrate in parks so much, especially like national parks or parks where it's more nature themed, and it is that taking things from the park or like ruining or killing plants in the park does affect the habitat itself. Oftentimes in these parks, there are creatures that live there and depend on these things, and if everyone takes a flower and everyone takes a shell, there's nothing left for the things that actually live there. And I wanted to illustrate that all in something that would be very simple, that just took a quick glance of the eye to see and understand.
What do you want people to feel or see when they see this?
Simply just the knowledge, and I wanted them to see, you can tell someone like, hey, don't pick the flowers, but to actually see the consequences of it, as shown in the second panel, I feel brings a deeper meaning to it. So just to show that concern or that extra reason to do what the sign tells you to do.